Exomologiste to Kyrio te agathos, alleluia.
Otis ton neona to eleos aftu, alleluia.
All right. So today's topic is going to be Trinity. When he's speaking with Timothy about the Trinity, and see if we can defend the Trinity. So there's a few questions I want to ask him. I'll keep it very simple. God is a Trinity, as you believe. The Son is God, the Father is God, and the Spirit is God. Then by transitivity, you should be easily able to say that the Son is the Trinity. That's the first question. Did you understand that one, yeah? Okay. Now, because if I want you to also answer the second question. If the Son is God, and the Father is God, and the Spirit is God, that means the Son must be, according again to transitivity, the Son must be the Father. And you end up in modalism. So there's two questions, very easy. Yeah? They collapse by logic, transitivity, into one another. If you say A is B and C is B, that means A and C are the same thing. Yeah, so I made it very simple, two questions, and the reason why is because monotheism is extremely important. Christians claim by my mouth that they believe in monotheism, but functionally we do not believe that this is monotheism. They believe in three gods, and this is the stance that we believe in, and the Jews and the early Christians also charged them of worshipping, the Christians, early Christians, charged other Christians or the Trinitarians of worshipping two or more gods. You can see this when you see this. He says that the people, they mainly, most of them are modalists, are monarchists, and they claim that they worship the Trinitarians more than three gods or two gods. So even the early Christians, it's not the Muslims, it's the logicians who are Greek are telling you that this is three gods. I don't want to hear Muslims. Muslims believe in one God. Jews believe in one God. They don't say what and who and hypostasis and all of this. I would like you just to answer these very simple two questions without making anything unclear. I hope my questions have been very clear. Is Jesus the Father? Is Jesus the Trinity? And I want him to know an answer in the way that I formatted those two easy questions. And a Trinitarian who's been on the path for a long time should be able to answer that. I cede my time.
Let me know when you're ready.
First and foremost, I haven't been in the park for a very long time. I've only been in the park for about a year and a half. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to behave in the same way that you behaved towards me when we had the previous debate. That's exactly what I'm going to do. You mentioned in the previous debate about child marriage in the Bible. I asked you...
He has to talk about topic, right? It has. You notice I didn't talk about topic.
He has his 3 minutes.
Yeah? No problem. The people will understand. No problem.
I don't think you saw what happened before. I don't think you saw what happened before. No, I don't think you saw what happened before.
I'll let you say it.
Thank you. Just keep going. It's fine. In the last debate, I asked him about child marriage in Islam, and he deviated to the Bible. He spent all of his time pretty much talking about the Bible, making false points about Rebecca, making false points about Mary, talking about church fathers, talking about the Torah and the Tanakh, I believe, and also the what do these Jews use? I forget what they call the Mishnah and things like that. Right? Irrelevant to the debate. So I'm going to treat him in the same way that he treated me. In the Quran, it says that Allah has hands. It says that he formed Adam with his own hands. He proportioned him with using clay. It also says that he breathed his spirit into Allah and then he commanded the angels to prostrate. How can he dare question me about the Trinity when his own text teaches that Allah has a spirit which is distinct from himself? Answer me why Allah has a spirit and tell me the difference between Allah and His Spirit. How can I even answer you on the Trinity when you have these things in your own text?
You give up the time?
Yeah, that's all I need to say.
Oh, that was such a terrible argument. Again, he never engaged with anything I said. Two very simple questions about transitivity. Is the Trinity Jesus? And that's all I asked. The first one. Second one is Jesus the Father. Are they the same? He did not engage. He refused to engage even one. I made it so simple. He started talking about last debate. Everyone saw in the last bit of debate how you didn't engage in anything that was said, and the topic is clear. Now this topic was about the Trinity. You started speaking about God having a spirit. No, in Islam we don't believe Allah has a spirit. We believe nafakha fi Adam. Allah khalaqa Adam biyadihi. Allah created Adam with his hands. That yaliq bi jalalatihi, which is according to his majesty. In the same way the Bible says God has hands. So we affirm the Quran, unlike the Christians who throw the Bible under the tree, under the bus. He's doing it again as he done it in that last one. So anyway, this is so sad. I'm not debating an atheist. I'm not debating a secularist. I'm debating a Christian. Allah, He blew into Adam a ruh min arwah, a spirit from the spirits, all which are created. We don't attribute a spirit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He needs to check his sources again. And he tried to divert the topic. I'll answer it just for the sake of answering it. Because I think the audience at this point know that he's unable to engage with the point. Anyway, I want him, if he can, because I'll answer this silly question which is relevant to the topic, I'll tell us, what is an essence? What is a person? What is a relation? What is a substance? What is a subsistence? These are core themes in the doctrine of the Trinity. I would like Timothy, if he's bold enough, if he's willing, very simple questions, to tell us, please, what these things are. Also, how many wills does God have? Does God have one will or two wills? Does He have an intellect, a mind? Is it three intellects or one mind? Is it three wills or one will? Very simple, because you're not engaging with the initial questions that I had asked, and it was obvious as to why. I want to ask this Christian at least if he believes in the Trinity or believes in modalism. And if he engages, I'm quite sure we'll be able to show him that he believes in modalism and how his Trinity collapses into modalism. But I bet you, he won't engage with anything. Unlike the last debate, I engaged with everything. I affirmed everything that he said. He's shaking his head, but he knows very well that's a lie. But let's see if he engages. I'll see you for 10 seconds.
Yeah. In the last debate, he didn't address my points. Yep. In the last debate, he didn't address my points. He ran to the Bible. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing that he did to me. He's complaining that it's not fair. It's totally fair. He didn't address my argument in its entirety. Sure, he made concessions that Aisha was a child when Muhammad married her and consummated the marriage with her, but he didn't address my argument in its entirety. Instead, he flocked to the Bible, like I mentioned before, talking about Mary, talking about this and that, all things that he was saying, complete nonsense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same tactic that he used against me, and no one can say that it's unfair. I'm speaking to him as a Muslim. He's a Muslim. His God has body parts. His God has a spirit. It says in the hadith that he will appear on the day of judgment in a shape that Muslims will not recognize. They will not recognize him. And then he will reveal his shin, and then they will prostrate. So his God has different forms. He can conceal his glory and he can reveal his glory. Allah has a spirit. It says in Surah Sad, in chapter 38, from verses 72 to 75, it talks about the creation of Adam. He's saying that it's a created spirit. It does in the Quran. It doesn't say that in the Arabic. It says that when you read the brackets in some translations, it's not true to the Arabic. In the Arabic, it says that he blew his spirit, or I blew my spirit, my ruhi, into Adam. So I want to know what's the difference between Allah and Allah's spirit. How can he be asking me about the Trinity when he can't answer these basic questions? The spirit of Allah is not a created spirit. Otherwise, you'd be saying that Allah is created. Are you saying that Allah is created? I don't think you're saying that. So if Allah's spirit enters, and we know it's the spirit of Allah, do you know why? Because he commanded the angels to prostrate after he blew his ruhi into Adam. Why did he ask the angels to prostrate? These are the questions I have for him. How dare he ask me about the Trinity? How dare he ask me about the distinctions when he himself has many distinctions in his own Quran and in the Hadith? Answer me. Why does Allah have a spirit? Why does Allah have a spirit? What's the difference between Allah and his spirit? Does the spirit of Allah share the same attributes as Allah? Answer me these questions. Yeah, time.
That was so terrible. Imagine agreeing to a debate about any topic that I want. I choose Trinity, and then he refuses point blank to engage in anything. He didn't even try to pretend he's not going to engage. So the first question he asked was in regards to the spirit. Again, he brings the same argument again. In the tafsir, every mufassir, every single one explains that Ruh Allah is reference to the creation of the arwah, which is the souls which Allah created and put into Adam alayhi salam's body. Adam alayhi salam, or Adam, does not have the soul of Allah. That's his understanding, and a straw man. There's an idafa construction in the Arabic. In the same way we say Baytullah, Naqatullah. This is an idafa construction of takreem. I don't expect him to understand. Tashrif and takreem, yeah? I don't expect him to understand this. But if he thinks he's strong in this argument and he wants to go down that argument, let's see if he can argue against that, if he even understood what is that I say in regards to the idafa construction of mudaf ilayh. Okay? Now going back to my discussion, which was the Trinity, he didn't answer. And this is the point I wanted to make. There's no way you can defend it. Jesus was sent by God. Jesus says, I am subordinate to Jesus, the Father. He says, the Father is greater than I. He says, in the end, all things will be subjected to the Father. Notice this is this is an ontological difference. In the end, this is not something to do with the salvation of this earth. It's something that happens post earth, which means there's a difference in them ontologically. Not the eminent Trinity, or the economic Trinity in regards to how they deal in the earth. It's an ontological difference. I want him to answer at least one or two questions in regards to the Trinity. If he can't, that's fine. I think the audience understand the topic is about the Trinity. He's talking about everything else but the Trinity. He's talking about the spirits, and I've answered all of these. Let's see if you can even follow that argument. And to be honest, if you're not going to engage, just say you're not going to engage and we'll finish this discussion, because it doesn't make sense. Anyway, thank you guys.
All right. Yeah.
You go 30 seconds.
Cool. I'll be fair to Hamza. I'll engage with him properly on the topic of the Trinity if he engages me properly on the topic of child marriage in the Bible, which he claims there is. I completely deny that. So if you engage with me on that topic, then after I'll give you my full respect when it comes to the Trinity. I'm only doing exactly what he did to me. So if you guys are complaining about the way I'm handling this, he did it first. I'm only reciprocating what he did first. That's it. So I've explained that Allah has a spirit. He's referring to tafsirs, but that's not what the Quran says. That is not what the Quran says. That's not what the Quran teaches. So we have to go by what's written in the Quran. It says that Allah has a spirit. And so we have to go with that understanding. There is another place where it says that Isa had formed a clay bird with his hands and breathed into it by the permission of Allah. So now we have two creators in the Quran in Islam. Yes, I understand it's by the permission of Allah, but it happened through Isa. This is not right, guys. This doesn't make sense. How can he be asking me about these things, the Trinity, when he himself has these issues in his religion? His God appears into creation. He appears. It says with his hands, he formed Adam using clay. That would have taken time. It wasn't instantaneous. And then he breathed his spirit into the Adam. He breathed his spirit into the body of Adam, the lifeless body. So here we see Allah in creation, acting within creation. And on the day of resurrection, he will be there. They will see him. In another hadith, it says, like close to the image that they had in their minds. So you can have an image of Allah in your mind. This guy wants to talk to me about the Trinity when he has these issues in his own religion. Fix those issues first as a Muslim and then come to me about the Trinity.
He had another chance to talk about the topic that he agreed to, and again he's refused point blank to engage. Now he says the Spirit of God. I explained to him that this was
That chat
an
GGB.
idafa, excuse me. I explained to him that the idafa construction. Would you kindly like to explain to the people what the idafa construction is? I made it even clear to you. Mudaf ilayh. It's a idafa of takreem or tashrif. If you think you know, in the same way that it says Baytullah, Naqatullah, or other things, if you think you know what Ruhullah means, you have to explain it grammatically from the Quran. But again, you don't know what you're talking about. And it's a valiant attempt if you read only the English, which is fine. But it's nothing to do with the topic. It's such a badly formed argument. Anyway, this is what I mean about Christians acting like atheists and secularists. The Bible talks about God having parts of bodies. But he wants to say, no, in Islam, Allah created Adam with his hands. Yes, of course. Look what it says in the Bible. The mighty hand in Exodus 6:6. Or the right hand of God. But again, as an atheist, he rejects the Bible. The Bible talks about God's eyes in 2 Chronicles. It says God's eyes search the earth. Again, he rejects his own Bible, his own Christianity, and his own Christ. It says that God created Adam on his form. If God doesn't have a form, how can he create Adam? If Adam has a form, it means God has a form. Again, I'm just changing the topic to the direction you want to go. But you're honestly not following the topic, which is fine. The people are clear. You keep wanting to talk about a topic, I close, and people can watch that topic. It's closed, it's done. God's mouth, yeah? In Exodus, it talks about God's back. This is politely putting it. God's back. In Exodus 33, verse 22, it says, you shall see my back, but my face you can't see. I want him to answer all of these questions about the body parts. I want him to answer about God creating Adam on his form. I want him to stick to the original topic of the Trinity. I want him to be able to answer the questions about Jesus being the same as the Father according to transitivity. I want him to show that Jesus is a Trinity. If Jesus is God and God is a Trinity, then he needs to show how Jesus is a Trinity. He's ran away from the topic. I've never seen anyone do this. And it's a waste of time at this point to speak for Timothy. He himself knows you can't keep a straight face because he keeps changing the topic. I've even entertained his side topics. I want him to try to entertain me on this topic. Even the Christians are laughing.
He says that he's never seen anybody do this. He literally did it 30 minutes ago. Right over there. If these guys are laughing. They even literally did it 30 minutes ago right over there. He didn't engage fully in the topic. He ran to the Bible. He's running away now. Are you coming back or are you gone? I don't even need the full 3 minutes. I don't need the full 3 minutes. He has to explain to me. He's going to external sources. It says clearly in the Quran that Allah has a spirit. He's saying that that's a created thing. It's not there in the text. It's not there in the Arabic. This is what he is inferring. I can give other examples where they make inferences that are not according to what Muhammad said or taught. For example, Sahih Muslim hadith number 2135. It talks about the anachronism in the Quran where it says, oh sister of Harun, right? Oh sister of Harun. But the Christians of Najran said, why do you say sister of Harun, referring to Mary, when Moses lived hundreds of years before? Muhammad said, the guy actually couldn't answer the question, so he went to Muhammad. Muhammad said, oh, they were named after pious people that lived before them, like the prophets. So according to Muhammad and according to the Quran, the brother that Mary has is not actually a descendant of Aaron. is not like Aaron in worship, or she's not like Aaron in worship, but she actually has a brother who was named after the Islamic prophet Aaron. But when you read the Quran, it doesn't say that. They don't go with that narrative. So there's an example where they actually contradict the hadith, where Muhammad himself, that literally says that Mary had a brother called Aaron who was named after the Islamic prophet Aaron. Why is this important? Why am I trusting in the exegetes or in the tafsir of what people say? They know there's an issue in the Quran when it comes to this verse in Surah Sad, where it talks about Allah creating Adam with his own spirit, or breathing into Adam with his own spirit. So they're trying to get out of that. They're trying to get out of that by saying all these other things that don't make sense with the actual Arabic in the Quran. I concede my time.
Concede your time. Okay, going forward, how many rounds do you want?
I'm happy to do one more round and I'm done.
You happy with one more round?
We're stuck to the topic. I don't know what we're doing here at the moment. It's like he's just making... He talks about Trinity, I go to Trinity. He talks about body parts, I go to body parts. Now he's gone to Mary and Aaron. He didn't do, okay, let's start the time, innit? He didn't do, he keeps saying Ruh, the Quran says Ruh Allah. But I gave the answer to that, maybe he wasn't listening. This is a idafa construction. Now you need to understand what the idafa construction is. I even gave you the answer, it's based on tashrif. But because you don't know, yeah, you're assuming what? That God has a spirit. That's wrong. This is a straw man. Argue with us in things that we actually believe. The topic was Trinity. You ran so badly from the topic, so badly. And then you went to body parts, yeah? I show you the body parts of God in the Bible. You threw the Bible under the bus for the second time. You threw Jesus under the bus. You threw God created Adam on his image under the bus. And now you're talking about Aaron being, the brother of Mary. If you know anything, yeah, Aaron is where the line of Levites come, the priestly line. And Mary is from that lineage. And in the same way, Allah, He says to Hud and Saleh that the akha of their people. It's the same way that Allah says Mary is the brother or the sister of Aaron, but she comes from that line. The Prophet Muhammad said the same thing to Safiya, who is also from that lineage as well, of a Levite that comes from Aaron. He said to Safiya that you are the brother of Aaron. But of course, I don't expect you. I know you're looking for more arguments and everything to change the topic from a different topic. So anyway, this is getting silly now, honestly, really, really silly. The topic is about Trinity. He spoke about parts. He ran away from parts. He spoke about Aaron, Mary. He's running from everything that he brings about. Honestly, I am disappointed. And I think at this point, I think I'm going to call it a day. This is the arguments that you prepared for and watched the videos. I don't know. But anyway, it was at least it was cordial.
I got one more. There you go, I got one more. Like I said, I'll be happy to engage with him on the topic of the Trinity if he fully... Okay, so look, they're going now. Ruhi, right here, my spirit. Like I said to him, I'll shake your hand if you're ending. Yeah? Like I said to him...
You didn't even start, Timothy. You didn't start.
What did you do there? Like I said to him, I'll fully engage with him on the Trinity if he engages with me on what he claims is child marriage in the Quran. That's what he said. The entire debate that he had with me beforehand, he was running away. He wasn't respecting the discussion. So why on earth would I give him the same... Why on earth would I allow him a different debate? I'm only going to treat him with the same courtesy that he treated with me in the last debate. So I gave him essentially a taste of his own medicine. Yes, it absolutely says in the Arabic that Allah blew His spirit into Adam. It says, Ruhi, my spirit, into Adam. That's a fact. That's what it says in the Arabic, and he's trying to run away from that. So if he can't answer me on that, if he can't explain why Allah has a spirit, then why am I going to engage with him on the Trinity? Why should I engage with him? If he claims that Allah doesn't enter creation, and He does, then why should I engage with him on the Trinity? Right? I'm treating him the same way that he treated me. And I made it very clear. I said, if you engage with me, on what you claim is child marriage in the Bible, then I will give you a full debate on the Trinity. So everything that you see me doing here is literally what he did to me about 30, 40 minutes beforehand, right? So I'm only being fair. God bless you, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Oh, let me show you guys as well. My spirit, Ruhi. Surah Sad, chapter 38, verses 72 to 75. Allah has a spirit, guys.